In this video, we're going to look at the reporting of the Return of Parish Finance for the Anglican Church. But before generating the report, it's important to understand how that information is gathered. If we look at our nominal accounts, and here we'll start by looking at the income section, if we take PCC fees income and look at the configuration of the account, we'll see that there is a section for the Return of Parish Finance. And here, the reporting section for the return is defined. Where it's a standard account offered by Liberty Accounts, then the section cannot be edited. But if you're adding your own account, then you'll be requested to add the detail of which section it applies to. So here, if I'm adding a custom account, and let's just call it sundry expenses, sundry purchases, it is an expense account. Where does it sit? Let's put it under church running cost. And the Return of Parish Finance section is offered as section 23, but if it's not section 23, then I can define which section is more appropriate that it should fit into. So that's looking at your accounts for your income, and the same would relate to expenses. But there are other accounts that are reported on the Return of Parish Finance, and those would be your bank balances and your investment accounts. So under current assets, we have other investments here, and if I look at the configuration for this account, I can see the Return of Parish Finance section is section 32, and that's all set there. Using Liberty Accounts Account Find Transaction tool, you can see which transactions are applied to which section of your return. You can also see, if you report the accounts and print listing, the sections as defined on the system. If there are any transactions where the section isn't defined, you can look at reporting the Return of Parish Finance section not assigned, and that will list any missing transactions. So having looked at how the report is generated, let's now generate the report itself. So we'd come to generate the Return of Parish Finance. There are no returns as yet on the system, so I've clicked the plus to add it for the last calendar year, so that will be to 31st of December for the prior year. And the system will now pull forward the details from the accounts. There are certain sections obviously where the data isn't held, so the number of regular givers and any new legacies received would be entered manually. And it will show you when we come to the bottom here what your position is with regards to your net assets, and it will show you the breakdown between your unrestricted and restricted. At the moment, you can see that I've got my investments showing as unrestricted. If this were an error, then I could look at my opening position to make sure that I have allocated the investments correctly. So control and opening balances, and here I have the section for asset balances which I can edit, and if I click on the line for other investments, you can see that I entered against the general fund, whereas what I want to be doing is taking that out of there, and it was actually for my church support fund, which is my restricted fund. And I can update that. Having updated, going back to the Return of Parish Finance, I'll delete this one that was created previously, and I will add the new return, and this time when I scroll down to the bottom, we'll see that my investment are correctly reflected as a restricted element. The option to edit these opening balances will only be available to the end of 2024. So this is for new features introduced by Liberty Accounts at the beginning of 23, which allows the analysis of your asset and any liability balances between different fund accounts. You will have noticed that this particular return that's been generated was generated under the accrual process. For those of you reporting under receipts and payments, which is an option that will be set within your organisation profile under accounting options, then the return would be generated under the receipts and payments mechanism. If there are any transactions not allocated to a section on the return, you'll get a warning message at the bottom to confirm that there are transactions to review, and you should review and ensure that all transactions are associated with a section on the return. Please contact us for further information on this and other features of Liberty Accounts.